Welcome back to the channel. Greg Allen F1 Spanish Grand Prix 2021 just wrapping up. New board is actually my old board, if you're wondering. I also had some marker issues. I'm on the road here traveling to see some family. Spanish Grand Prix just wrapping up though, a really good one. Let's get right into it. Lap 1, Max Verstappen makes a fantastic pass right into the first corner and he takes the lead. Great move and an overall a clean start for everybody on the track. Lap 5, Pierre Gasly comes under investigation for the way he started this race. It looks like, from what I was understanding, he may have been not in the proper starting box on the grid, and that cost him 5-second penalty. He makes up for it later in the race, though. Lap 6, I've really enjoyed that the broadcast recently has been going back to the mid and back part of the pack. I felt like last year we just never saw what was going on back there unless there was a crash. We get a good Schumacher versus Russell battle. George Russell, I thought, had a pretty decent day. His car went away from him right towards the end. He was battling for a championship point at one point. But it was nice to see some coverage back there. Really entertaining battle early on in this race. Lap 8, Yuki Tsunoda's car. Turns out that he was right. He doesn't have the exact same car that Pierre Gasly has. Gasly's car has power. So Yuki Tsunoda's car stops, loses power, brings out our only safety car, and he is the only retirement of this Grand Prix, unfortunately for him. Really, probably a weekend that Yuki Tsunoda is going to want to forget. Has a rough time in qualifying, not a good interview that AlphaTauri is going to like, and he's out early in this one. Lap 11, Lance Stroll makes a great move on Fernando Alonso, and I bring that one up and put it back on the board. I didn't write it down here. They have a little bit of a battle late in the race where it comes under investigation. I'm still actually waiting. The Grand Prix just ended, but really good battles between those two all day. Lance Stroll, for me, is impressing me. He makes a great move on Alonso a few times here. We'll see if he gets a penalty for that late one. But either way, he's still looking better and better every year to me. I know Stroll gets a lot of hate, but that's a pretty good move to put on a champion like Fernando. Lap 22, midfield boxing begins. We get Alpine, Aston Martin, and a bunch of the midfield cars coming in. That triggers all of our boxing moves. Lap 24, Verstappen boxes and has a bad pit stop. 4.2 seconds, and they had an issue with the rear tire, wasn't ready to go on, and that changes the complexion of this race a lot because it allows Mercedes to take advantage of strategy and kind of takes him out of a positional battle there, and they're going to get the strategy wrong from here on out. Mercedes is going to get it spot on. So lap 26, an interesting thing happens, and I'm going to keep pointing this out. Toto Wolff calls the FIA, and we get to actually hear the radio on the broadcast about Mazepin holding up Lewis Hamilton. Completely inexplicable. That 4.2 second stop almost wound up not being an issue because of a Haas that is way behind everyone else week in, week out, and it seems like every single week we're seeing him get in the way of the leader. And at some point, again, I've been critical because it's deserving so, but it does have to be said, at some point Nikita's place in F1 needs to be in question. I think that he could get there eventually. I just think that he was promoted up into Formula 1 way too quickly. And I worry about his ability to stay in that car all year. He's having issues constantly everywhere on the track. And when you're holding up Lewis Hamilton and Toto Wolff is calling the FIA, that's going to be interesting if that continues on, and eventually they might have to do something about that. But interesting moment. So lap 28, Hamilton does come in, and he gets a great stop. Mercedes gets it right, 2.7 second stop. Lap 37, I start noticing some of the midfield. Lando Norris seemed like he was stuck down in 9th all day. Passing was very difficult. We got some really good racing for the final World Championship point in 10th at the end of the race. A really great battle, about 4 or 5 cars there. It looks like Pierre Gasly had some good runs. Alonso was trying to hold on to it, wound up falling back a little bit. Stroll was in there and had that issue with Alonso in that. But Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo had probably his best day for McLaren. Lando Norris just had a day where he just couldn't seem to get out of 9th. And I think that overall, McLaren probably won't be very happy with this weekend, but Daniel Ricciardo has something to build on, so I guess that's a positive. Not the best weekend for McLaren, in my opinion. And they get outshined by Ferrari, and Ferrari definitely looks like they're getting better and better every week. So another great draw. I don't have absolutely anything on the board about Leclerc, but another great drive by him today. Really some good stuff from him and Ferrari, and I think that you're going to see him and Carlos Sainz get better all year, and watch out for them next year, for real. Lap 42, Hamilton boxes, and this is where we see the genius of the Mercedes strategy. The two-stop strategy. Max stays out, and they start talking about Hungary 2019 all over again, and that's exactly what happened. Comes out about 22, 23 seconds behind Verstappen. Chase is on. I wrote in lap 48. Hamilton closes in, and it was never a competition. Just blows by Verstappen eventually. But it was interesting in lap 52. So team orders come in for Valtteri to move over for him, and he's not having any team orders. He makes Lewis Hamilton do a proper overtake, and honestly, I love it. So nothing has gone Bottas's way this year. You know, Valtteri Bottas, for me, this was the year for him to break out and challenge Lewis, and it's been worse than last year. It's probably been in my opinion, his worst start in Mercedes, because it just doesn't look like he's even close. So they get a good strategy for him and get him onto the podium, because by all means, Ferrari was challenging for that third one. So they get his strategy right for where he was racing. But if I'm Valtteri in my mindset, I'm going to do anything I can to disrupt that top two battle for Verstappen and Hamilton. And that's what he does. So it could have cost Lewis the win, but really it didn't even come close to. So I kind of like it. Other people might hate it, but what else can he do at this point? If you're in that second seat at Mercedes and you're having this start to the year, I mean, you really got to start getting creative if you want to be in the conversation. There's still enough races for him to get in that conversation, but right now he's not, and he almost looks like he's out of the championship already. So lap 60, Hamilton takes the lead. Mercedes just flat out outsmarted Red Bull, and that's what it comes down to. They get the strategy spot on. Red Bull missed the strategy. It should be noted that while Sergio had a decent run today, he just wasn't up there enough to help Red Bull be able to have a two-car battle against the two Mercedes. Not that Valtteri really played a huge role in this, other than holding up Hamilton for a minute. But I think that's kind of what we're starting to look at here. Perez is closer, I think, than Gasly and Albon was at this point. He's just not there yet, and they need him to be a little bit closer. I thought he had a good run, considering where he started, but not a great run. And I think that they need to figure out how to get him qualifying top four week in, week out for him to be able to play a role in maybe giving them a second chance to try two different strategies, which they didn't have. And head-to-head today, Mercedes just straight up outsmarted the Red Bull. So Lewis Hamilton gets the win. Max Verstappen second, fastest lap. Last week I had fastest lap for Verstappen, and then track limits took it away after I hit record on this. I hit record as soon as the checkered flag waves, so if that changes, I apologize. But as it ended when I turned on my camera, he had fastest lap again. Valtteri Bottas, the most common podium, especially here in Spain. I believe it's the fourth year in a row that we had this lineup on there. And we wait a couple weeks now for Monaco, which I personally am really looking forward to, since we didn't get Monaco last year. But this is starting to look a little bit more like it did in 2020, where it's Verstappen trying to chase down Lewis Hamilton, but he's just not really close enough to actually win these races. I think Verstappen needs to win in the next two races for this championship to really be that heavyweight battle that I've been talking about in previous videos. We're just not there yet. So anyway, a pretty decent Spanish Grand Prix. Not clearly, nowhere near as entertaining as the F3 race was. So those of you that watched the F3 race, man, those races are a lot of fun. And that second F3 race was fantastic. I was hoping for that. I thought maybe some rain would come through and give us that. Doesn't happen. Winds up being another brilliant race by Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton. You want Red Bull to get up there, but you can't hate when Mercedes just puts on a show like they did strategy-wise. It really was some brilliant stuff today from Mercedes, so good on them. I will catch you in the next video. I will try to be a little bit quicker on my power rankings this week and get to it a little bit sooner than I did this previous week. But overall, once again, if you came across my channel, thank you for watching. Please consider giving me a subscription and hitting the like button. It helps me in the algorithm, and the better these videos do, the more enthusiastic I am to keep doing them. I love talking about this channel, but the YouTube algorithm has definitely been crushing me a little bit recently, where I've had a lot of videos get under 100 views. So if you could hit that like button, it would do wonders for my channel. Appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.